Don't say it. Don't you dare say it, because we all know the fact of the matter. We all know the truth about the matter. Truth in all capital letters, which I see people stealing that from me. It's okay. I just take mental notes here. But we know the truth of the matter is I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. But today we happen to be talking about a couple different Nintendo related things. So if you like the occasional Nintendo news, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. We'll get there eventually. That's my market peak. You know, the YouTube won't give me 1 million subscribers. Like, look at this face. Look at how I talk and how I act and stuff like that. Yeah, the corporate people don't like me. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games, specifically for Nintendo stuff today. And yeah, we're going to start things off with an explosion of Mario games coming to the Nintendo Switch. And this came out late last night. Very interesting. Obviously, we just recently talked about Nintendo Switch Online, and you know, one of the problems with it, the whole Pac-Man 99 being delisted thing. Obviously, people have money tied up in that game, and whatnot. Like, I just thought it was pretty scummy. And if you might remember, one of the things I said in that video was, well, if Nintendo would have just announced some new Switch Online games to be coming to the service on the same time that they were doing this, shutting down Pac-Man 99 kind of behind the scenes, I feel like people wouldn't have even paid attention to it. And lo and behold, 2 days later, they dropped this bombshell announcement. So we have 3 Mario games coming to the Nintendo Switch via the online service. Now, this is just for the Expansion Plus members, because you do have to have the Game Boy Advance side of things. These are releasing on May 26th, and we have Super Mario Advance, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3. And I know what you're saying to yourself. What are these titles? Like, what is it? What is this titling? Like, somebody thought that this was okay. Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. Like, that's a terrible name, but it does kind of make sense once you actually figure out what the games are. So Super Mario Advanced is the first one, and it's essentially a remake of Super Mario Brothers 2, which of course was a game called Doki Doki Panic. I mean, I think everyone knows that at this point. It wasn't the actual version of Super Mario Brothers 2. Nintendo thought the American audience was too stupid and couldn't handle that game, so they released this game. Seriously, that's the reason why. And yeah, so it has classic Mario Brothers arcade on here, and of course Super Mario Brothers 2. So that's cool for multiplayer support, because you could hook things up with a link cable, at least back in the day. There are some new things in the game as well. Super Mario Advanced 2, which is Super Mario World, is of course Super Mario World from the Super Nintendo. It has all the stuff from that game, and it has some new stuff in there as well. You have the option to play as Luigi in Super Mario Advanced, Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World. God, like, I'm just stumbling over myself here. And Super Mario Advance 3, which is Yoshi's Island, which I don't like this game. The baby crying things, like, some people are able to look past that, some people are not able to. But I think this is an interesting release, because these versions of the games are actually very interesting. You know, I feel like they're much more than just sort of like a cosmetic change, because there are some core fundamental things that they change within these games. And even if you've played like Super Mario World front to back, side to side, even if you played Super Mario Brothers 2 front to back, side to side, I feel like these versions still offer a ton of content. They still offer a ton of things to find, a ton of things to discover, secrets, you know, additional stuff. Like, these are it almost makes you wonder. It almost makes you wonder, because now you can play multiplayer with these games online as well with the Nintendo Switch. Granted, you know, that you got to find someone to do it. You can't just play it with a rando, but if you got some friends, you can play these games. It makes you wonder when Nintendo sort of lost their passion for remakes like this, because these games were very successful on the Game Boy Advance. People loved these games. They still command a very, you know, good dollar amount considering the age of them in the secondary market. So why does Nintendo not sort of think about things like this and sort of go down this angle again? I don't know. All I do know is that on May, on May 26th, these games will be available. They'll probably be available on May 25th in the States, because they always do them kind of soon or whatever. But very exciting stuff here. If you've never played these games before, even if you're a Mario diehard and you played the originals, play these games. If you've never experienced them before, I think you'll be very interested to check these games out, especially if it's your first time, because it definitely offers a unique perspective on classic games. Let me know in the comment section down below if you are excited for these, and good job. I mean, we could sit here and talk about the fact that they did 3 of these games all at once, because you could have drip feed these games. All right, you gave me Metroid Fusion, you gave me one there's 2 Metroid games on the Game Boy Advance. You couldn't give me both of them at the same time. You gave me 1 Metroid, but you gave me 3 Marios. I mean, there's a lot of things to explore here, but I'm gonna wrap this up because I got something else to talk about. I have something else that went under the radar yesterday, and it is the invasion of the $70 Nintendo Switch games. And you have to imagine that Tears of the Kingdom was the catalyst for this. Look, okay? Let's get this out of the way. Tears of the Kingdom is worth $70. I bought the collector's edition. I think that was $130. I bought the Australian eShop edition. I believe that was, I ended up paying like $70. Let's say I spent $200 on one game. It's worth it. I honestly feel, I bought a lot of $70 games. I feel like this game is worth the $70 price tag. I'm still discovering so many different things. I'm just at the point now where I've done the 4 stages. I've got the Master Sword. I'm kind of just messing around, beefing up Link and finding things. I still have Sky Towers to unlock. But with that game and with Nintendo being the company to do a $70 price point, you knew that third-party companies were chomping at the bit for that. They wanted that $70 price point from Nintendo because then they could justify putting $70 games on the Nintendo Switch. And we found out yesterday, amidst all the hoopla for Mortal Kombat 1 and the fact that it was coming to the Nintendo Switch in the first place, which honestly was very surprising, we found out that that game was going to be $70 on the Nintendo Switch. And it's like, the timing of it is very sus. Like, you have to admit that. Because I feel like if Nintendo didn't, and I understand, you know, this is a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series game, so, you know, those games can be $70. We've seen that before. But the Switch version, because you have to imagine that it's not going to be nearly as good as the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series version. We haven't seen any gameplay of this game yet, but I'm going to assume that graphically speaking, it will be better than Mortal Kombat 11. And Mortal Kombat 11 was a gorgeous game. That game came out on full price on the Nintendo Switch, and it sold pretty decently, especially considering this was a third-party title. And usually these sort of Western third-party titles don't do nearly as well as Eastern third-party titles. I'm showing you guys Mortal Kombat 11 footage because Warner Brothers is weird with trailers and stuff like that. And 2, yeah, it was just a CGI trailer. I can't get super excited for it. But the $70 price point, you know, I've seen some people online say, ooh, well, wait a minute, is this a Switch 2 game? It comes out in September. What are you, crazy? They're gonna have this game come out on the Switch 2 in September, meaning that the system would already be, no, stop that. That's madness. That's insanity. There's no Switch 2 this year. At the very least, you might get an announcement towards the end of the year. Stop the insanity, people. And if I'm saying stop the insanity, that means a lot. Stop it. Get some help. Jesus Christ. But I just think this opens up a door that a lot of people didn't want to open up, especially on the Switch. With things like the PlayStation 5, with things like the Xbox Series, those were new generations. If you wanted to start out those generations at $70, like we saw with the PlayStation 5, fine. I think people will understand it more so. But when we're talking about a system that's in its 7th year based on technology that's a decade old, and now all of a sudden you're like, we need to charge $70 for these games instead of $60. I don't know. I feel like that could be a death blow to the Switch version of the game. If you would have had the Switch version of the game at $60 and then the other versions of the game at $70, maybe you attract some more people to the Switch version of the game. Portability, you could play it on your Steam Deck. Like, what's the value in the Switch version of the game? And I think that this is going to open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur for a lot of these third-party companies to sneak in and be like, hey, what's going on, pimping? Yeah, let me hit you with the $70. Let me, you know, product used to be $60, it's $70. You know, times is tough. Times is tough. We got to eat out here. And that's going to happen. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. $70 for Mortal Kombat 1 on all platforms, including the Switch. Is this a sign of things to come? If Nintendo's being real about this and this system has more life in it, Are we going to see like more third-party games coming in at $70? More first-party games at $70? It's a slippery slope, man. That's all I'm saying. It's a slippery slope. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.